Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 7th of April. Wednesday, the 7th of April today, and we are here to give you some morning motivation, inspiration, and conversation for your day ahead. Good morning, everybody. It is an overcast day here, but I'm not going to let that get me down. Today is my wedding anniversary, and today I would like to talk a little bit about relationships. So, let's start the day like we do every day. I'm going to just quickly post this to my page, but let's start the day every day by um, actively listing the three things that we are grateful for. What three things are we grateful for this morning? What three things are you grateful for in your life this morning as we start this broadcast? So, as I'm probably going to mention several times, it's my 7th wedding anniversary today. 7th wedding anniversary, and 7, as most of you know, is one of my two favorite numbers. Morning, Shelly-Ann. How are you? Looking forward to chatting to you after this. Come on in. So Bella and I are here. Andrew's gone off to work, but today we celebrate 7 years of marriage. And it's a funny old thing is marriage, because marriage is a legal union, obviously, a legal recognition of your union. And for us, we were the first male gay couple to get married in Bournemouth in the UK. So we're in Dorset is our county, Bournemouth is our town, and a lesbian couple got married first, and then we were sort of the second gay couple, but the first male gay couple to get married in Bournemouth. And that never got any sort of accolades or anything like that, which was great because Andrew loves flying under the radar. But if you go to my personal Facebook page, I've posted some photos from our wedding day this morning, and I am very happy to celebrate my marriage, my union with my husband. For us, we got married not because of wanting to prove anything to anybody else. We got married because it just made sense. We wanted to have the same rights as everybody else. People may not be aware, but if I were to fall sick and be in hospital, and it was family only allowed to visit me, they don't recognize boyfriends, girlfriends as family. They only recognize, relatives that are related if you're seriously ill. So there was that, because I have health concerns. There were a couple of other things, but we got married for ourselves, and we got married on our own terms. And interestingly enough, when we decided we were going to get married, we included, I want to say 4 or 5 friends that we called around to our home for tea and cake, and we were going to let them know. And on your anniversary, 11 years ago. Oh, amazing. My family, my home. Absolutely. Yeah, we invited people around for tea, and they stayed for tea, and we dropped the news that we were going to get married, and that we were in fact engaged. We'd been secretly engaged since day 3, but that's another story. And this was now sort of a good 5-6 months later, and we dropped the news that we wanted to get married. Me being a control freak, I'd already planned a whole lot of stuff for the wedding, and we wanted to include these particular people in our celebrations, in our planning, and in our execution of our wedding. And when we left the room to go and make coffee, we overheard one of the friends saying to everybody else, "Oh, I'll give this 6 months. It's just Martin trying to take over again." And that really hurt, really, really hurt. And so I want to talk about relationships and how our relationships are affected by people around us, etc. And that was a really testing time for us, because the bet was laid on the table that we wouldn't last until the day of our wedding. Needless to say, those 4 people that were at that actual meeting, the people we tried to include and wanted to involve in our wedding, not one of them actually attended our wedding service. For one reason or another, each of those 4 people showed their true colors and proved not to be the valued friends that we'd thought they were. And so not one of the 4 attended our wedding. And in fact, I have it on good authority that 2 of those people are now divorced, and the other 2 people are single. and don't have a relationship at the moment, which is very interesting, very telling that our marriage and relationship has lasted the test of time. And over the what's nearly 8 years, because in June we'll be together 8 years. So we got married 10 months in. In June we'll be together 8 years. But the 4 people we chose to include, we chose to bring them into our little plan, just really weren't really that interested in working with us and celebrating our union. And so how often is it that we allow friends and family to affect our decisions? That's what I'd like to know today. How have your relationships, even friendships, so any relationships, how have your relationships been affected by friends that have wanted to share their opinions, etc.? How have you been affected by friends when it comes to your relationships? Because we didn't allow the friends to affect us. In fact, we just carried on regardless. And if anything, it put a fire underneath us to keep making sure that what we wanted was coming through. So it didn't matter what other people thought, it mattered what we thought. And so we just kept true to our course, we kept true to our plan, and we got married, albeit earlier than we'd originally planned. We'd originally planned September the 7th, I think. But with my dad dying and other contributing factors, we just decided, why wait when you know what you want to do? And so we got married on the 7th of April, on a Monday, in the registry office in front of 10 people. And then, having got married on the Monday, we had a service and a reception and everything on the Saturday following. But our original date of marriage, our marriage certificate says the 7th, because that's when we actually did get married. And after that, we had the service that we wanted in front of 100 guests. And even that day was affected by other people, but we continued regardless. And we have actually managed to recreate our wedding on our 5th wedding anniversary 2 years ago. We re-had the wedding of our sort of dreams amongst friends and family that we now have, because we actually counted, and of the 100 people that were at our wedding originally, we maybe keep in touch with about 10 of them, which is quite surreal. So 7 years on, Andrew has promised me that at 10 years I can recreate our wedding again. So in 3 years' time, I shall be recreating a commitment ceremony for us, which is great. I'm allowed to do it every 10 years now. So when we hit 10, I can do it. So let's see what you guys have been saying. Karen says, morning, grateful for my mother's life. She passed 21 years ago. Bless her. Grateful for the chats, which keep me supported. Grateful for family members to share fun and interactions. That's amazing, Karen. Oh man, this has affected me recently. Yeah, it's something that does affect us. The way, morning Wilson, the way friendships or supposed friendships affect our relationships, the way people influence us or try and influence us. And usually it's with their misgivings and their shortcomings. Thank you, Karen. It's a lovely photo of you and your daughter. Morning, Sai. How are you? Morning, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you, Sai. Amazing. Thank you, Claire. Yeah, so I just find it incredibly interesting how people come into your life as friends, and all friends will always want what they believe to be the best for us, and that is true. We would hope that our friends would want what's best for us, but sometimes in them sharing their opinions or their thoughts on what they believe to be best for us, they actually affect us in certain ways, and that's not always great, that's not always healthy, and not always plausible in a good way. And some people end up feeling very, very jaded by that. And I know for us, as I said, we had this meeting when we were planning our wedding. We invited the 4 people that we had nearest and dearest to us, and none of those 4 people ended up actually attending the wedding, because for one reason or another, they just drifted away from us. And it was horrific to stand in the kitchen and hear someone say, oh, well, they won't last until the wedding. This is just Martin doing the Martin thing, trying to hold court and be in charge and all of that. And it was really, really hurtful, really, really hurtful. And as I say, those 4 people from a distance, I understand that their relationships have all but given away. And Andrew and I have just got stronger. You know, we've had our difficulties, as with any marriage. We've had misunderstandings, but we've also had growth. And specifically, I would love to say that over the last year, during COVID, we've had massive growth in our relationship. Andrew has shown up for me because I've been isolating. He has shown up for me in ways that I could never even have imagined before. You know, I've never ever um, tried to push Andrew or change Andrew or change the way he is, the way he behaves, the way he responds. That's not for me to do. It's not for us to change anybody. You know, people need to either adapt themselves or they need to work on themselves. We shouldn't be trying to make changes to other people. That's not our job. But in the last year, Andrew has um, he has just shown up in amazing ways and just really outdone himself in my expectation or in my estimation. And I am so much more in love with Andrew. Like, my love for him has increased over the last year, which is, I believe, a rarity. I think, you know, you fall into a pattern of becoming companions after a while. But, you know, our love has increased over the last year, and just in really, really weird ways. So tell us about your relationship stuff. Tell us about your experiences. I'd love to hear about it. And let's get a card out for today. Karen says, I'm psychic, so I can see how much will fare, but as a friend, I've learned to bite my tongue and after talk it through if it ends. Yeah, I mean, Karen, that's the thing. To be honest, let's go. So that's really horrible. As in what happened to me. Yes. Um, Karen, to be fair, oh, hold on. Let me read Liz's first. I had a very good friend that I saw at least once a week. After Ian's death, she came to the funeral, but I have seen her twice since then because, and I quote, I can't cope with you being upset all the time. I was incredibly hurt. Lately, she has tried to reconnect with me. I've rejected this, as if someone can't be there with me in my bad times, they don't deserve to be with me in my better times. Absolutely. Friends, home, life in general. So, Karen, let's look at that flip side of the coin. So, you're like myself, you have this intuition, this ability to see, and I have, similarly to what you're saying, I have seen things before about people's relationships, but I have also bitten my tongue because it's not my place to comment. So I agree with you there. I agree with your sentiment. But also, what I've learned in my journey is, although I can see the path ahead, at any point, any single person is responsible for their choices. So although we have a path laid ahead of us, we could choose to deviate off that path at any given moment. At any given moment. Okay. And that's when we go off course, etc., etc. But just because I can see the path ahead clearly in my estimation doesn't mean I see the choices that they're going to make. And sometimes the choices we make lead us down other paths or lead us down other avenues, and that is the thing. It kind of, you know, it's never as clear cut as what we see. What we see to be happening is what we are predicting. What actually happens is as a result of choices. And so that's also why I bite my tongue, because you never know what might change in that vision. What might change in that vision. And that's important to note because it can always change. Things can always be different from what they were assumed to be. Agnieszka says, happy anniversary. Thank you, Agnieszka. How are you? Right, I'm going to turn my green screen off for a moment because here comes today's cards, boys and girls. Compass, card 50. First of all, 50 comes to a 5. 5 is a 5 plus 0 is 5. 2021 is also a 5-year. On this compass, we have all the star signs, we have Roman numerals, we have the compass needle, we have direction, we have a frog. Okay? Lots of blue around it. So blue, communication and creativity, how we express ourselves. And compass is here to tell us that we're finding our direction, we're finding our true north, and we need to keep moving in the direction of our true north. So find your direction and move in that way. Compass tells you that you're in the right place at the right time. You found your north, now keep proceeding in that direction. You know, whatever your truth is, whatever your direction is, If you find something that you're passionate about, if you find something that you are committed to, keep moving in that direction. You are not going to be misled. You will never be misled from your true path. And if you are deviated off the path that you see ahead of you, if it doesn't feel right, try and aim back for that path again. You have this ability. At each point, we can choose how we respond to the situations that we're in. With friendships and relationships, it's incredibly difficult to always ascertain what's going on, because there's always an element of surprise or an element of mystery. But we certainly do know people well enough that if they are not behaving like their normal selves, if they are behaving mysteriously or weirdly or something like that, we can actually ascertain that and maybe just nip it in the bud. Ask what's going on, ask what the issue is. But I also always believe that if you're going to ask, you need to be prepared for the answer, and the answer might not always be something you're wanting to hear. So there is that also. Claire says, friends do come and go. Many people can't cope with things like grief and pain. Absolutely. And to be honest, I accept that they can't and they should go. Others have been drawn towards me and they are my soul tribe. I feel what is meant to be will be. Now that's quite interesting, Claire, and very true. I think people come into our... Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody ready? Here's the thing. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Some people aren't meant to be there for the good, the bad, and the ugly. Some people are just meant to be there for school life, or when we're at college, or our first job, or they were our bestest friend forever when we were 5. And then our paths change, and our lives change, and we change direction. So it's not always the other person that changes. Sometimes we make choices. And it's those choices that navigate where that friendship or that partnership is going to go. Claire's right, people are not all equipped to deal with pain and grief. And unless someone has gone through something similar, or unless they're open to and understand that various people will have big highs and big lows, if someone's not equipped to deal with that, they are going to naturally fall by the wayside, and that's okay. I often say, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Even watching me right now, not all of you might agree with the things I'm saying or the way I'm saying them, but you have the choice to watch or you have the choice to leave. You don't have to sit and listen to me go on and on and on about relationships. You can choose actively to unplug from the conversation. And today's topic just happens to be relationships because it's my wedding anniversary and it's my show. So it's my choice as to what I'd like to chat about for the day. Those that join in and chat along, great. Those that just want to observe quietly from the corner, cool. Those that want to be negative, I take that on board too. But I take it on board as you're wanting to be negative. I don't have to absorb the negativity. And so too with friends, Claire. Some friends can handle pain and grief. Some friends can't handle pain and grief and don't quite know what to do. So sometimes they feel the best thing for them to do is to step back, but that's because of their issue with the situation. So it's always important to reflect on why people do what they do, or why it is that people do what they do. And sometimes it's just because they can't handle it, like you said, Claire. Sometimes they can handle it, but it stirs up too much memory for them or stirs up their feelings, and so they don't know that they want to deal with it on their personal level. They can handle your pain and grief, but when it makes them remember things about their pain and grief, they're not happy about that either. So you do have that flip side of the coin. But people that endure, people that are there with you throughout, are really the people that you should treasure. Because as they say, through thick and thin, they are there with you, for you, around you. And that just means that they are probably in harmony with you. Because if you can handle their stuff and they can handle your stuff, then maybe it's a match, friendship match. And that's important, to find the people that can be strong with us, for us, around us. But then we need to also therefore be strong with them, for them, around them. And you will find those people. You will find those people that through thick and thin are able to support you, stand with you, stand by your side, celebrate you in the good times and celebrate you in the bad times. I have probably got 3 friends that I can call no matter what time of day or night. If I call them, even if they're in a different country, which is mostly the case, if I call them at 3 in the morning, they will answer the phone. They'd probably have some profanity to share, and then they would say, right, let me just grab a coffee and I'm with you. And literally, as long as give them time to prepare for the conversation, and I've been on one of those conversations for 5 hours and not even blinked, because you know what? We're there for each other. Other people claim to be there for you, and when you reach out, they're not interested, or they're too busy. Or, in fairness to them, they might have stuff going on in their lives that means that they can't be there for you. But in that case, you would hope that they would explain that. Or say, look, I'd really love to be there for you right now, but I'm dealing with stuff to do with my mom, or etc. And if you can be open and honest with people and share when you are able to be there for them, but also to share why you might not be able to be there for them in this particular situation, friends will understand. They totally will understand. Last week I had a blip and I reached out to 5 people, and all of them had valid reasons why they couldn't speak to me instantly, but somebody on this broadcast recognized that I needed someone to talk to and messaged me privately and said, can I phone you, because I think you need to have a chat. And that was just phenomenal. The people that I reached out to for individual reasons, I reached out to them for specific reasons because they were looking at different aspects of what I was going through last week. And they just couldn't. They were in business meetings or with clients or whatever, and they were like, we'll get to you later. Can you hold on? And I went, absolutely, because it's your time. And if you can speak to me later, that's great. If you can't, that's fine too. I'm just reaching out because I need to talk. And somebody on this broadcast sent me a private message and said, listen, I saw you on the broadcast this morning. I think you need someone to talk to. Can I video call you? And I had a lovely video chat with them, which was phenomenal because it was someone that I didn't reach out to, but someone who recognized that I needed to talk. So, there's the flip side of the coin too. I do try and give both sides of the story, guys. I do try and see things from both sides. I don't take it as anything against me at all. I appreciate that we all have our issues. Yeah, and that's okay. I truly appreciate those who are my soulmate friends. Claire, you'll also find that the people we make effort with are the people that usually make effort with us. The people that we stop making an effort with, like if you recognize that someone isn't really getting you, they're not really your vibration anymore, maybe they're making different choices, maybe they agree with things that you really find difficult to agree with, and you decide to step back, you'll be surprised to know that they'll also step back and you won't have to interact again. It's the weirdest thing because people kind of resonate with you or they retract. And when people retract, sometimes that's also a blessing, because in both cases, you just don't feel like it's a match anymore, a vibrational match. So I think keep looking for the vibrational matches in our lives. Karen says, I've lost some friends because they couldn't deal with my multiple bereavements, family sickness, and other things. I also have just a few good friends. I think it's healthy to have a few good friends, Karen. My dad, before he died, my dad used to say, if you can count your friends on one hand, if you can count your true friends, my dad would say, if you can count your true friends on one hand, my boy, then you are richer than the most wealthy person in the world. And that's true. If you can count your true friends, and this is that 3 o'clock in the morning phone call, or help, I need someone to fetch me along the roadside because my car's broken down, or have you got a bed for me to sleep on? I've fallen out with my partner. All of those kinds of situations that tend to happen in our lives. Someone who's there for you regardless. You could say that you, I don't know, did something horrific and they'd be like, okay, I don't agree with what you did, but I'm still here for you. Those are the people. If you can have those people counted on one hand. So if you have 5 really good friends, then you are wealthier than the wealthiest person in this world. Because let me tell you, wealthy people, their friends are money based. If they lose their money, you'd be surprised at how many friends they also lose at the same time. And this has been reported time and time again. I lost my wealth and all of a sudden all my friends were gone. I've lost one friend due to her psychological personality issues. She was 5 on us, and I gently said I would remove her remarks. Something she let me think. Realize when things don't go right for her, that I am a good friend to have on board. Yeah, agreed, Karen. I also think that, like you say, in time she will realize. And I think the thing is that you have realized, you have foreseen or realized before she has. So you're at a different place in your relationship status than what she is. And, I would do exactly what you're doing. Give someone the opportunity, or give them space and allow them to come to that realization. However, in time, if they choose not to come to that realization, I also then don't go back on my word and try and patch things up. I kind of go, well, maybe I'm not a vibrational match for her, because that's the other thing that I've learned. I used to people please all the time and want to be liked by everyone all the time. And I think to a certain extent, we all want that. We all want to be liked. We all want to people please. And I mean, when we're younger. But as we get older, you learn that the best thing for you to do is to actually take care of yourself and how you are responding to things. Now, we've done the reaction respond thing before, so I'm not going to do it again, but a better way to deal with things these days is to respond to them rather than to react to them, okay? But when we control, or when we think about how we are responding to situations, we're in a far better position. And sometimes that also means that we just actually go, you know what? This is who I am unapologetically. As long as I'm responsible for what I say and how it is said, what I do and how it is done. I'm responsible for me. I'm responsible for what I say and what I do. If people vibrate with that, brilliant. If people vibrate against that, brilliant. Because I no longer have to please everyone. It is no longer my remit to try and make friends with the whole world. And I know thousands of people, and that's not a joke or an estimation. I am acquainted with thousands of people. From when I taught at the school for 11 years, or worked at the school for 11 years, to my theatre and fashion industry jobs that I've had, etc., etc. I am acquainted with thousands of people. And out of the thousands of people that I know, or that I'm acquainted with, I would say about 10 of them are people that I absolutely cannot stand. Like, if they walk into a room, I want to leave. That kind of thing. And I'm okay with that. Because if you weigh up thousands of versus 10, whichever way it goes, I'm okay with not liking everybody that I come into contact with. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to agree with everybody. You don't have to be in match with everybody. What you have to do is make sure that you are okay with your choices, what you say, what you do. That's the only thing you have control over. And if you say or do something that you later on come to regret, then it's up to you to go back and reanalyze, relook at, and rectify that situation, because the only person that can fix it is you. And that's the truth. The only person that can repair the damage that you've done is you. So these are things that I've come to realize. These are things I've come to know. These are things that have helped me in my life. And as I said at the top of this, in June 1st, Andrew and I will celebrate 8 years together. But today, the 7th of April, is the day we got married. And we got married 7 years ago today. I think it's got something to do with wool or bronze or copper. I've looked it up, what a 7-year anniversary gift is. And there's a couple of things that are on there. But bronze, wool or copper, I can't really think of anything to give Andrew in that respect. So I think I'll just stick to my undying love and a card. I did the card already. This is the card I left for Andrew this morning on his nightstand, on his chest of drawers. So he found this morning, and he's now put it on my desk. Bless him. But yeah, so today, 7 years married, very much in love. My love and adoration for Andrew has increased over the last year due to all the things we've dealt with through COVID, and how he's just kept going and kept us going, which I cannot even begin to thank him for. And I would wish that each and every one of you, in whichever relationships you're focusing on, be they work, friendship, romantic, family, Whatever relationships you're focusing on right now, be abundant in that relationship. Be abundant in your approach. Take care of you. Make sure you're all right, because once you're all right, you are able to share and be there for many more people. Always make sure to take care of yourself first. It sounds a little bit backwards, but it is the truth. We need to make sure that we are in our best estimation first, before we try and help others, before we try and help and work with and support others. So Bella and I are going to go and prepare our day. We're going to make a nice romantic dinner for tonight. Yes. Are we going to cook? Are we going to cook, Bubble? Yes. So Bella and I are going to go and do that. We are going to hope that you have a fantastic day. Please, please, please take care of yourselves and each other. Remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you're doing the best you can with the tools that you've got. Be blessed. Have a fantastic day. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until we see you again, namaste, MJ and Bella.